This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now with local real estate expert Harvey Blankfeld.
Where we want to educate you about our market, empower you to make wise decisions, and help you engage with our expert contributors. Let's talk about mortgages first, because I think that's something that's on everyone's mind. All homeowners out there are wondering right now what's going on with mortgages, and maybe you can shed some light, particularly on what they might be able to ask of their lenders at this time.
Well, mortgage rates are very good if you can get one right now. And of course, it always depends upon how much money one's putting down and, credit scores and all sorts of stuff. But because of the coronavirus situation, the market, the mortgage market with the the GSEs, the government-sponsored entities like the Fannie Mae's, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae, who primarily, I think, deal with FHA and VA. These are the mortgage securities. They buy up loans to help keep the cash flow, the market fluid, and they've been a little reluctant to want to buy up certain types of loans. For example, the jumbo mortgage market has really imploded. Now, jumbo in our market is, I think it's 514,400, something like that. You might know better than me on that. But to borrow, jumbo money is very difficult. Many of the banks, or the lenders, they might have what we call overlays. In other words, they might want people to put 20% down. It's only going to be owner occupied. They've raised the criteria on FICO scores, credit scores, and it's becoming more difficult. Another thing that just happened just recently, that's why we got to let the viewers and listeners know that some of the people who were providing purchase money seconds or home equity lines of credit to help make purchases have abandoned the market.
You also help out with, as an expert witness quite often. And in doing so, I'm sure you come across people are talking about the current status of the market with regards to how buyers are dealing with it. Can you give me any insights on what you're hearing about the pros and cons of being a buyer right now?
Well, there are people still buying and selling. I mean, last month was my 34th anniversary in this business in one form or another. So we've always got people buying or selling. But if you're a buyer, you're particularly motivated, and you better make sure if you're borrowing money that you'll be able to perform.
Right.
Because the lenders are, they're not just doing their typical verification of employment that they always do, or calling, to make sure you're still employed. Usually with a mortgage market, making loans, it would be the intent at the time of purchase. Now they're having people sign documents, and even employers saying, well, what's the likelihood that you'll be able to remain on the job? Are you likely to continue to earn what you've been earning? And so, somebody could be buying something and then find out, the day before or the day of escrow closing even, they don't qualify. Now, that could be dangerous for a buyer if they don't have a buyer's agent who knows how to properly prepare a contract that would provide for the financing contingency that could go through the entire escrow process. Now, that's what some of us are recommending now. Yeah, even though our association has that form, that addendum amendment, right, for the coronavirus.
I'm going to share some stats now, Steve. I want to bring up a screen. I'm going to show you, and everybody who's been following me on this on a weekly basis has been following these stats. So I'm going to bring these up, and we can comment on those. Okay? Let me show you what I've got here. So here's the week that that ended yesterday, and in the course of that week, now these are all weekly stats except for this top one, which is the total currently available single-family homes. And this week we have 6,346. That's actually down. I think that's down for the first time since we've been doing this. If not, it's very close. Down this week over last week. This past 7 days, we put 586 homes in escrow. Now, these are only single-family homes. This is only single-family homes because that's what I've always done. We closed 422 single-family homes. 198 were withdrawn. That's up 68 from last week. The median sold price was $305,275. The week before was $306. So it's right. It just went down a little over $1,000. And the median price per square foot is at $173.85. That's down just a fraction as well. Now let me show you. Let me share with you the weekly stats from when we first. Well, this doesn't go quite. We actually started doing this in March, but this chart shows back till April 2nd, and you can see the number of homes. Like here was 5,901 back on April 2nd, and now we're at 6,346. So we're only up a little, 450 homes between then and now. In escrow, look what we did this week. We put 586. That week, we only put 350. Oops. Yeah, we only put 350. We sold 422 this week. Well, we closed 523 back in April, and 198 were withdrawn this week. That's the biggest number we've seen of any of the weeks. That's a big withdrawal number. And then the median price, 305 here. Back then it was 315,060, so that's gone down $10,000 on the median sold price. But truth be told, when you're looking at any 1 week's worth of data, it's not. To me, that's not an impertinent number. I mean, you need a much bigger sample size to really measure median price, and that's why I looked at median price per square foot. It's actually gone up, $173.85 from $171.69. And you can see the days on market has only gone up a day in that time frame.
What about showing property? Are sellers letting your buyer agents into the properties, or what are you doing?
Yeah, Steve. And we're using precautions. We're wearing gloves and masks. We're encouraging our clients to do the same, and some sellers insist on that. When we show properties and we have sellers, we ask them to kindly turn all the lights before we get there, so we don't have to hit any light switches. Open all the interior doors, so we don't have to open any doors inside the home, and so we don't have to touch anything. So when we're showing the property, we instruct our sellers to give us an environment that's easy for us to get in and get out without having too much interaction with the actual stuff in the home. And in doing so, we're showing property. Now, vacant homes are being shown, all the time. That's really not been a problem at all. But I think there's definitely less activity than there normally is this time of year, but there's still good amount of activity. And again, I think when we come out of this thing, it's going to get a little nutty. We do property management too, and I will tell you, the governor's directives have been, rather imposing upon those of us who manage rental properties. But in spite of that, I should say, the tenants have been tremendous. The landlords have been gracious. We're seeing the relationships within our company have been very, very good. We actually we're closing out the May's collections right now. And I want to say we collected 94% of our rents, which, isn't all, but it's good. I mean, it's for the most part, the tenants are understanding that the landlord.
So they're paying the rent, even though do most of the tenants know that they can't be evicted right now? Or are they taking advantage of that?
I think some of them do, and there's a few that are taking advantage of that. And obviously, I had a landlord send me an email today saying, "Gee." Because we sent them notices when we realized that their tenant's not paying. He said, "Gee, this tenant is actually active military. Shouldn't really be affected financially right now. You would think. Can you check into that?" And truth be told, we can't. I can't question even. Right. We can't go to them and say, "Hey, gee, why not?" We can't do that.
For anybody doing a loan, a forbearance or deferred payment, they're not allowed to report anything negative to the credit union about that. Right. However, you know what they can do, and they are doing, and it's not in violation of the CARES Act. The lender, you're not going to be able to get another loan, for I think a year after that forbearance is cleared or that deferred payment. So although it may not affect your credit rating whatsoever, it could have some deleterious effect on your ability to get a loan if you're thinking about buying something else or refinancing or doing something else.
Please join us again next week as we keep you up to date on everything real estate here in Southern Nevada. Remember, send me any questions or ideas for next week's broadcast. Tune in every Thursday at 3. Also, please let your friends and family know to like our Facebook page and be reminded about our updates at LV Real Estate Radio. We'll catch you next week. Thanks again for joining us.